I've never been that happy with the braking performance of my Scrambler, and the easiest way to do something about that is to change the brake pads. I then had the bright idea of painting the calipers while I was at it, without realising how much more complicated having to remove the calipers from the bike would make the whole process. Honestly, if I'd realised how difficult and stressful this process was going to be, I probably wouldn't have even started it in the first place. Anyway, here's the video. If you enjoy it, don't forget to like and subscribe. So I've already removed this little bleeder thing. What we're going to do then is remove the caliper by removing these, but before I do that I want to just loosen things up a little bit. Specifically I want to loosen this here. We'll take it off completely when we're done. So to do that, let's use a spanner, and that doesn't fit, and that's way too big. Well, shit. So yesterday didn't get very far because the spanner didn't fit. I did a bit of research and I found a different type of spanner called a Whitworth scale. Now the original spanner that I had was 13mm and apparently this is like 13.3, so hopefully this is going to be a little bit better. But oh, that's so close, but that still doesn't fit. Oh, okay. So that wasn't a great start, but hopefully it's all good from here on in. So we're going to remove the caliper now, and we do that by removing these bolts. Okay, there we go. And the bolts are off, and the caliper comes off like so. Okay, great. Now that we've got this loosened a little bit, we'll undo this a bit more. If we can get these things to work. So I finally got the caliper off, and now what I want to do is remove the brake pads. To do that, I need to remove this pin here, which is the pad retention pin. Now when you check this out in videos online, they just unscrew this and then they pull it out. Unfortunately, in this case, I can't seem to get this out at all. It's stuck, and I don't know if it's I'm doing something wrong or it's just stuck in there and it needs something else to get it out. Unfortunately, what that means is that I can't get any further with this today. So, yeah. So I took the caliper down to the shop this morning and they treated it with a bit of concussive maintenance. Basically, they whacked it with a hammer and they got the pin out. So that was great. I probably could have done that myself, but you know, I didn't really want to in case it broke something. With that finally done, I've given the caliper a nice clean and it's time to get some paint mixed. I'm really scared of messing this up. I haven't painted anything in years. And you know, if I do something wrong at this point, it's going to be really difficult to fix it. I'm really aware that my bike's off the road right now. I couldn't ride it even if I wanted to. Thankfully, the roads are wet, but yeah, you know, I feel like maybe I've dug myself into a bit of a hole here. Okay, here we go for the final result. Ta-da! Wow, I cannot believe how well this has come out. They're absolutely gorgeous. It wasn't even that hard to paint it. I did get a little bit of paint on the letters, but I was able to remove it with a wee bit of sandpaper, so that was fine in the end. It wasn't any problem at all. And just look at how these look. I can't wait to see these on the bike. Yeah, you know, it's been ups and downs so far. My bike's still off the road. I still couldn't ride it if I want to. But yeah, you know, maybe I'm starting to think that perhaps this wasn't such a bad idea. After all, when you look at these calipers and how they look right now, yeah, I'm thinking, you know what, maybe I can do this. Still got a lot to do. Haven't even got the back caliper off yet. That's going to be next. I'm going to have to take the rear wheel off for that. So yeah, more scary stuff. But this is a real boost. Look at these. Wow. Okay, so we're back on to the next stage. What we're going to do this time is remove the rear wheel. Now, I've never done this before. It's a little bit scary to even think about it. But it's got to be done. I'm just going to loosen that off a little bit.
Alright. And now you've got the back wheel. Brilliant. And now we can get to the rear caliper. Oh, and it just lifts off. Wow, that was easy. So now we've got the rear caliper here. I'll just get it up to the camera. We're leaking a bit of brake fluid, unfortunately, and we need to get this bracket here off. And so this again is pad retention clip is here. So take the clip off first, and then tuck that open. Hopefully this one will come out a little bit easier than the other one. It wouldn't come out, but there we go. Just comes straight out. Brilliant. Right, so that's great. The last thing then is just, oh, it just comes off. Ow! 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 Right in the shin bone. So yeah, this is how we clean it then. No big secret or anything like that. Just an old toothbrush, some washing up liquid, get a bit of hot water, and just get it as clean as we can. Paying particular attention to all the little crevices. They're the bits that kind of gather up all the dust.
Hi folks, so we've got our nicely painted caliper here. It looks absolutely fantastic. The pads have just arrived in the post, and we've got the other bits and pieces here. So what we're going to do, we're going to get these pads into the caliper, and yeah, so we can get it onto the bike. So yeah, hoping this is fairly straightforward. Haven't really done this before. I made a huge mistake, incidentally. What day is this? This is Saturday. On Thursday, when I was painting the rear caliper, you probably don't need to be told this, but let me just kind of put it out there anyway. On Thursday was Halloween, right? So there's loads of fireworks and stuff that go on off around here, and for that reason I kept the windows closed because the fireworks scare the cats. But also I was painting the rear caliper, and I painted it in this room here, and then I had it sat on the bathroom window, just so it can, so the paint can dry out and everything. And what that meant was during painting and during the night, I was getting exposed to the fumes of the paint continually all that night. And the day after, so Friday, which is yesterday, the day after I did the painting on the rear caliper, I was so ill. I don't think I've ever been as ill in my whole life, seriously. And I mean, it's a really stupid thing to do and a stupid mistake. And I mean, clearly, you use a well-ventilated area when you do something like that. But I just, for some reason, didn't think about that. And yeah, I had to take the day off work and everything because I was so ill all day, bedridden. All I had to eat was a bowl of rice at like 9 o'clock last night. And that was it. So yeah, I mean, you probably don't need it, but just in case, word of warning, if you're going to be doing this, do make sure you're in a well-ventilated area, because flip me, honestly, I still feel pretty bad today, to be honest. Do feel a bit better, but still nowhere near 100%. I had planned to go out on my mountain bike today, but yeah, that's totally scuppered that because I'm just too weak to kind of even think about that. So yeah, this paint is wonderful and it looks absolutely fantastic, but well-ventilated area. Again, you probably don't need to hear that. You probably are well aware of that already, but just in case. Anyway, so it's just a case of getting this put all back together. And there's this little springy boy here, which is the kind of main source of any awkwardness when it comes to this. So this is a bit that I had trouble getting out, and actually, it's a little bit difficult to put back in again. That kind of makes sense because it was hard to get out. I don't really want to take a hammer to my nicely new painted caliper. Right, 2 seconds, I'll be back. Okay, so and that actually went quite well. So hopefully the threads are ready to take now. I don't know. So there's our pads in now as well. On our shiny new red caliper. As I said before, I know I've said it before, but like, I'm so impressed with how these have come out. This paint is, yes, it's going to make you super sick if you don't use it in the ventilated area, so bear that in mind. But it's wonderful stuff. I mean, the finish that this has come out, I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to painting. Like, this is the first time I painted anything in a long time, and certainly by no means an expert when it comes to that. But it was really simple, really easy, and the finish is just absolutely fantastic. Right then, so you can see here that the caliper is back on the bike, and what we need to do now is bleed the brakes, which means to get the air out of these brake lines between the little reservoir up here and the caliper down there. To do that, we've got like a little vacuum kit thing. This plugs on to this little bleed nipple here. And what we're going to do, we're going to put some pressure in the system, and then we're going to release it, and we're going to suck all the air out. At least that's the theory anyway. So we're going to need that little screwdriver there, or that little spanner. Now you need to be a little bit careful with this brake fluid. It's not necessarily corrosive in that it's not going to like melt your face off. Take this whole bit out. See all this as well. Take this all out. So yeah, it's not going to melt your face off, but what it does do is it damages paint really badly and really quickly. So you need to be really careful with it. You don't want to get it near any of the paintwork on your bike whatsoever, because it will do it in eventually. It's good to have some kitchen roll or something about just in case you need it. And what we're going to do then, so we'll top this up a little bit because we don't want to run this dry. It'll just suck more air into the system. So we'll top that up a little bit. Now, whenever we do this, just pumping the brakes a little bit now. You can see there's no air coming out here. There's no bubbles or anything like that. So that's exactly what we want. And then what we're trying to do here, we're just going to basically pump and release. So what that means is that we pump the brake. There we go. We've got the brake pumped in, and then we release it here. And you see there it comes out. Release the brake, tighten that again, pump the brake, loosen it again. Release the brake, tighten it again, pump the brake, loosen it again. Release the brake, tighten it again, pump the brake, loosen it again. And it's really just a case of following that process over and over until what you see coming out of this tube is just brake fluid and no more air bubbles. It looks like we're pretty much there. Now I'll get this little cover back on. Now, obviously this isn't full, but that's okay because this is going to go in and take up a lot of the space. So we don't want it to be any fuller than that, or it's just going to spill everywhere. No. Actually goes around that way. Again, bit of kitchen roll, just to make sure this stuff doesn't go over. Mainly concerned about getting it on that beautiful paint on the tank. Obviously, we don't want that to happen. Okay, get that back on. Clean it up a bit. And that's it. Simple as that. Brilliant. So I finally got there in the end. Can't tell you how many times I regretted even starting this during this project when things were breaking and I had to replace this, I had to replace that, didn't know how to do certain things. That's all part of the learning process. If it's easy, there's no point in even doing it. So it was great to get it all done. I think the calipers look really good. I'm really happy with the way they turned out, and the bike just looks absolutely fantastic now. It's such a beautiful machine, and now it's unique as well. It's my own bike,
It's not like any other Scrambler out there, so I'm really happy with it. It's been a difficult process, this one. I'm sure I've lost some hair along the way, and I don't have much to lose, but worth it in the end to learn the new skills and to get these mods on the bike. I know this is a bit more cosmetic than normal and not really a performance upgrade, but still really like it. The pads are a little bit better as well, to be fair, so it will break a little bit better once they're bedded in. But yeah, bike's looking great. I'm really happy to get it done in the end and get back in the road. Incidentally, these little light things have been a great job. It's really obvious when you're riding that cars and other vehicles can see you a whole lot better. So really happy with those as well. But yeah, there we go. Bike's looking absolutely fantastic. Yeah, wonderful. So let me know what you think about these. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. Take care, and I'll see you soon.